Hello, everyone. This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today we're here with coffee, tea, thoughts, and conversations with the Biz Chicks. I'm in the studio with my friend and colleague, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we are the Biz Chicks. We are so excited because we have a special guest for you today. We hope you'll share this message out with your friends. And if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe and make sure that bell is on and you've allowed all notifications so you'll know when we are in the studio. We are just elated that you took time out of your day to come in to spend some time with the Biz Chicks. Friend, how's it going today?
It is going very well, and like today is Monday, so we always have these unique conversations. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hey, Cecilia over there, and everybody watching live on the replay, and the people who are in the clubhouse. So today's conversation: who are you? Who are you? We were talking about this a little earlier when I was walking this morning. Terry, I got to walk in. So, who are you? Who are you? What do you stand for? And what do you stand against?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? What do you stand for? And what do you stand against? If you know those three questions, you're going to be so far ahead. Um, Not knowing those things will have you running here and there and everywhere, following after other people and trying to figure things out. But once you get down who you are, what it is that you stand for, and what you stand against, you'll be so much further along. You won't waste time. Um, and those three questions impact every part of your life, because
Mm-hmm.
our insufficiencies, our missteps are often because we are missing information. Simple
Mm-hmm.
information. There's something we don't know. And if you don't know who you are, you'll be wasting a lot of time in life. So that's the conversation that we're having today. And we want you to weigh in on that conversation. Who are you? See, Dr. Tachi's over here in Clubhouse. She does media production. Hey, Mark. Uh-oh. Mark got comments here too. So Dr. Tachi's over here. I know her because she does production, she does media, and everything that she does has something to do with media. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
to be, she's not ping ponging all over the place. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'll get to that. She's not ping ponging everywhere. She knows who she is, and therefore she can stay on track for what she's doing. She's not distracted because she knows, okay, Wednesdays I'm doing this and I'm
Mm-hmm.
preparing for this, and she's constantly going in that direction because she knows who she is, she knows what she stands for, she knows what she stands against, what things she's not going to be a participant in, because she knows who she is. And a lot of times people waver and do this because they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Mark has a comment here. Mark says, as I've shared before, my business cards say, who do you want to be? Who you are has everything to do with the way that you do the things that you do. Thank you, Mark. So, who are you today? Dr. Tachi, you want to weigh in on this?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
This is a really interesting question because it's along the lines of something that I do. Like if I'm ever teaching it's been a long time, but if I'm teaching like a public communication class, where we're also looking at like inter and intrapersonal communication. There are 2 exercises that I do. So this first one is those 3 questions. Basically, I ask them, who are you, or who am I? What do I believe or believe in? And what am I willing to put everything on the line for? Or what am I willing to die for, basically? So it's interesting because people don't think about these things. And you're right. The fact that you don't even have a clue of who you are and the things that make you run, you're not going to be effective in relationships with other people if you don't know who you are. So it's something that I always do. And then there's another exercise that I do called the box, that is based on the Johari window, which is the 4 panes of the self. And so basically, I tell students to bring in a container well, they do it, on their own time, and then they bring it in. I said it can be any container that has an outside and an inside. And what you're going to do is, using the Johari window, is basically write or decorate it with the 4 panes of the self. It's almost like, how people nowadays are doing the what is it, the vision board workshops. That's a really popular thing. In a sense, this is like a vision board for not a what you want to have, but who you are currently. So it's like a vision box, I guess. So if you are you familiar with the Johari window?
No, you are just opening up our understanding on some things. So
yeah. So there are 4 quadrants: the open self, which is things that you know about yourself and other people know about yourself. You're Black, you know that, and so do other people. Okay. There's the blind self, and those are the things that you have no clue about, but other people see. So if every time you answer someone, you answer them with like a nasty attitude, you may not be aware that you're doing that, but they're aware of that, right? Or you may, stand a certain way, and you don't think about it, but other people say it. So you're blind to it, but other people know. There is the facade, what they call the facade self. These are the things that you are not aware of, that you are aware of, but other people are not aware of. Let's say that. So you're putting on a facade, basically. So that's also known as the hidden self. So there are things like those secrets that you have, or the things that you don't share publicly with everyone. So that is the facade or the hidden self. You know, but other people don't know. And then there's the unknown self. And that unknown self is neither you or other people know about it. The only way you can get to it basically is with hypnosis for yourself. So you may subconsciously know about it, but it's not something you consciously know. And so I tell people to pick those areas of the self. Most of the time, I'm like, the outside should be the open self. And it could also be maybe the blind self, so you can ask your friends what they think. But then the inside can be, I said, you probably obviously can't do the unknown, but you can do the hidden. I said, now don't feel that you have to put anything that you're not comfortable with. Let me tell you how they would come in, and it would end up being a therapy session, because they would spill everything. And I was like, I didn't mean for you to come. I mean, they would cry, and it showed me that nobody listens to them. People don't listen. So they felt that it was a safe space to come in and tell me everything, and their classmates everything. It was, I'm like, I can't do that. I can't handle it anymore. But anyway, that's another way of answering those questions about yourself.
Wow, thank you for the insight. Thank you.
Wow. I can see where that could turn into a real sensitivity session, Doc. Yeah, because people overshare anyway. And now with all of this social media, I can't even imagine what was shared. Oh my gosh.
So we got Coach Karen in the house. We've got Carlos Phoenix in the house and some other people here. And Carlos says, you know what you know what you don't know. Then there is, you don't know what you don't know. talking about the Jacari box. I'm gonna have to go look that up and do a little bit more looking at that more. So who are you? What do you stand for and what do you stand against?
Wow.
And those are the questions that you need to answer so that you are not pulled off into many different directions. My whole reason for the question was I see why people get distracted. They don't have their own thing going on. And you get pulled in 20 different directions when you don't know who you are and what it is that you're here to do. So that is why we're going to have a conversation with our next guest. Her name is Maria LiPuma, and she is a body confidence coach. And if I haven't said that right, Maria, we're going to get it right. So she's going to help us get some things right. You know what I mean? About who we are, you know, because a lot of times we don't know who we are, and then we do some things to sabotage ourselves. So I met Maria over in Movement Makers. I want to say a workshop class, something that's going to help propel your business forward. And so I saw her products that she has to offer, her website and everything, and I was like, let me talk to Maria. And then we have a couple of comments from Mark and Karen, and then we're going to let Maria introduce herself. I know the comments come in delayed on Facebook, so before we let Maria loose, let's address Mark's comment and then Karen's comment. The greatest obstacle for people facing seemingly daunting challenges is that they have forgotten who they are. It's one of the first things I do with people. Thank you, Mark. Mark is a lifestyle coach. Yep. And Coach Karen says, same reason why some people feel stuck at a job that is nowhere else, because their mind has nowhere else to go. Thank you, Karen. All right. So Maria, tell us about Maria, who you are, what you do, how you help.
I love it. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. And thank you, Terry and Francine, for inviting me this morning. So I am a healthy weight and body confidence coach. And I help women, sometimes even men, to release the challenges that are also often so common today with achieving a healthy body, feeling good in your body. A lot of people struggle with emotional eating or addictive eating, and I help unloose the hold that kind of behavior has on women in particular. But again, there are men that I've worked with as well. And so they can step into their lives with more confidence and esteem, because really how we feel and are in our physiology dramatically affects how we're showing up in the world. And so in answer to your question, so, you know, I know that who I am is directly related to my life experiences. And the work that I do today, the work that I feel so passionate about, helping women have freedom around food, feel good in their bodies, treat themselves with love and respect by the way they feed themselves and take care of their bodies, is directly related to my own experience and my struggles. And so my life experience has really formulated who I am today, and and the passion I have for serving others that are in that struggle. So really, I feel like I'm a servant. Like my greatest desire is to serve and to share this message with, again, those people that are caught in the grips of, poor body image, destructive behaviors around food, weight, and body image. I also work with other addictive behaviors. I'm trained in addictive behaviors. and alcoholism, but I specifically work with like eating disorders and destructive eating behaviors. And that's been my story. So yeah, who I am is I'm a passionate woman in serving other women that are being undermined by patterns in their life that don't allow them to stand in the fullness of who they are. And that's what I stand for today. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. And it goes, I think things go back if we don't know who we are. Let's talk about in the realm of why we eat what we eat. Are we eating to please other people? Could that be a thing? Eating to
Not hurt someone's feelings.
right. And so it's emotional eating. You're trying to not hurt somebody else's feelings, but you're eating because you're not comfortable with who you are, perhaps. There's a whole lot of stuff going on around there. The whole ice cream, I where you grab the ice cream out and you just start digging and eating into the ice cream for whatever reason to soothe something. It stems around not knowing who you are and not being comfortable, perhaps, with who you are.
Yeah.
Because
Is that a question or is that a statement?
It's a statement question.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And it's something for conversation. Why do people do that? Why is there that? And it's going back to Dr. Tachi's, I like the window pane, the Chikari, something that we're doing that we don't know we're doing it. Why am I eating the ice cream late at night or early in the morning? Something. Why?
Why did I buy it?
Yeah.
Because I knew there was nobody else in the house, especially during this time. You buy something, you're the only one in the house or the only one or two people in the house. So you know who's going to have to eat it when you put it in the cart.
So, Maria, you get to expound on that. What is the thinking?
Okay. Yeah, I really. So it's interesting because there's so many aspects to this whole thing around food and our relationship to food, and especially because we have so many diets out there and so many authorities on what we should and shouldn't eat, and so we're confused about that in the first place. But the second place is, so why do we go to the ice cream to sort of quelch down our feelings, our emotions, right? And I think that's what you were alluding to, Francine, is that sometimes instead of speaking up and sharing the truth of how we're feeling, we tend to, not all of us, but those of us that have had this relationship with food where we turn to food to sort of stuff down what we're feeling or numb ourselves even. And I did that as a very young child. I learned to use food to numb myself because I grew up in a very traumatic environment, and it sort of saved me from the insanity because it did numb me, and it was a safety mechanism to help me get through that time. But as you get older, and sometimes it does, in the moment, it makes us feel better. The food, it quelches down, especially if we're stressed or we're triggered, or maybe we have some deeper trauma. But in the moment, it does make us feel better. And that's why we go to it again and again, because we want to feel better. But if we've been given the message, it's not okay to express ourselves, it's not okay to feel. And a lot of us are brought up in environments where we get that message, right? That you can't share who you are or how you feel authentically. And it's interesting, yesterday I was with my grandchildren. My grandson was having a moment, and I went into the room. He's 12, and his dad wants him to apologize for something. And he said to me, he wants me to apologize, but then if I apologize and it's not authentic, he says, I don't really mean it. He says, but I don't really mean it. He's like, so I can't really apologize if I'm not feeling authentic. He says, I don't mean it yet. It's like it takes me a little time to feel it, you know? Thought it was very mature, but of course that's my grandchild. But that's the point, is that we get caught in these systems a lot of times. And sometimes we're even brought up, you know, the adults in our life model that, right? We might be witnessing our parents where our mom is afraid to speak up to our dad. So what does she do? She might turn to a glass of wine or turn to a piece of cake rather than share her truth, because maybe he'll get angry or maybe he'll abandon her or whatever, you know? So we create these patterns, but the beliefs, the underlying beliefs are that it's not okay to feel, that who I, you know, what I need to express maybe can hurt you, because sometimes we project that onto others, right? That maybe just sharing our truth is going to offend somebody or make somebody feel bad. So as social beings, as social animals, we want to, relationship is everything for us, you know? And so, especially in our developmental years, we want to be loved and taken care of by the people in our lives. And so we sort of, we learn the system, right? How to maneuver. And if it's not okay to feel our feelings, if it's not okay to express ourselves, or maybe we don't even how to learn how to express them in a way where they can be heard. You know, that's another thing I was sharing with my grandson yesterday, is because he has difficulty. He gets really angry. He's also, you know, going through puberty. So he gets really, so I said, you got to just try to say what you mean without saying it mean. Because when you say it mean, the parents get defensive, or anybody gets defensive, right? So learning how to express yourself in a way where you're not going to be offending others, but yet, and sometimes just saying our truth in a very loving way can offend others, but being more detached from the results and just, you know, you want to be authentic and honest with what's going on. So that's one reason why we turn to the ice cream. Another reason that we might turn to the ice cream is that we are really stressed. Because when we're stressed, our physiology is in a constant fight, flight, freeze response. And we are, and the body wants to create a balance, an equilibrium, homeostasis. And so the stress response creates all kinds of chemicals in the body that make us really feel raw and out of sorts. And food will actually create that. It'll calm down the stress, especially creamy things. Or so it's it's like medicine, right? Food is medicine, and it's a way of medicating ourselves so that we can feel better. So the answer to that is not to beat yourself up because you're eating the ice cream, but the answer is, because it's not about willpower. It's not about not knowing that you shouldn't eat the ice cream. It's about that you're stressed. So the answer to that is to start to take your stress. So maybe you're driving home from work and you're ruminating about your nasty boss and what a terrible day you had, and maybe projecting, you know, all the stuff that's going to go on at home. So by the time you walk in the door, you're emotionally stressed because now you've been activating that fight flight. And of course, you're going to like run to maybe pour yourself a glass of wine or go to the refrigerator because you need to find relief. The body wants to find relief. But the answer to that is, you know, maybe listening to beautiful music on the way home from work, or thinking about the things you appreciate, or so that you can walk in the door not feeling stressed. And then when we're not stressed, we're intentional, we're not reactive. We have some space to like consider, oh, do I want to go to the refrigerator right now? Or maybe I want to take a walk around the block. We have a choice, right?
Yes.
When we're in that fight, flight, freeze, we don't have a choice. We're compelled to do things. So stress management is huge. And it's not really the environmental stress, it's the way we respond to it, right? It's the thoughts we have in relationship to the things that go on in our life. So those are a couple of reasons. If somebody comes to me like with an ice cream addiction, then there's also an emotional connection we have to certain foods. Like I had a client who was like running out for the ice cream, like in the middle of the night. And and what we did some deeper work. So I work with cognitive somatic practices, which means that they help you actually to get into the subconscious mind and to sort of unravel the deeper drivers that are keeping you in self-destructive behaviors or patterns. And so we did some deeper work. And what we really looked at was we went back to the memory of as she was a child, and there were 6 kids in her family. And when her mom would come home from the grocery store, they'd all sit around the kitchen table and have ice cream together. And she was longing, now she lives by herself on the other side of the country. She was longing for that connection to family. And we associate, like Pavlov's dog, right? We associate experiences to the taste of things. So
Right.
she was craving the ice cream because she was craving the experience. And when we went to that, just shedding light on that, and then starting to recognize she really needs to pick up the phone and talk to her family, right? That's what's going to give her the experience, because a vat of ice cream is not going to give her the experience. That's why we go into, maybe a cup of ice cream is going to, but if we're trying to fill a deeper hole, remembering, even without even picking up the phone, just remembering those beautiful experiences that she had with family is going to satisfy her in a way that the ice cream will never do that. But it still boils down to taking stress seriously, because if we're in a reactive cycle, we have no cognitive awareness, because again, reactive means we're in a stress, a fight, flight, freeze. And the blood is not even flowing to our brain that we can even think about it. We're just doing,
Wow.
So that's a lot. I know I just said, but talking about the ice cream,
Right. Who knew all of this is going on, and what we're thinking is impacting every aspect of our lives. Just when you were talking about coming home, you were talking about coming home and you're driving home, and the thought, okay, we can choose what we're going to be. Okay, I was going to use whatever we were thinking about on the way home. Either we're thinking about, okay, so the boss did do some things and I wasn't happy with, but I have to decide on my way home to not carry that whole thing with me and make a different choice by putting on the music, by getting out of that space, step out of that and let me get into something else before I get home. But a lot of times people don't recognize that they're in this whirlwind, and hey, how dare they say that to me? And they didn't take my position on something. And you got all this stuff going that's going to impact what you're doing on the way home. And I like what Maria was saying. You might need to switch that up a little bit before you walk in the door.
Yeah.
Terry worked for the state of California. What was you doing when you walked in with the different hats?
Yes. I tell my children, if I come in with this hat on, I need at least 5 more minutes to just chill out before we go into the mom mode. Mom, can I have this? Mom, this happened today. Mom, because I hadn't been home all day. So I needed to be able to switch gears. And sometimes because I was commuting, I couldn't always get that time because I would stop in the driveway and try to chill out. But if it wasn't successful, I just had my little hat on, so they know, okay, mom needs a minute.
And I really liked that explanation of switching before I get into the house or before something takes place, and then the flight. What was the 3?
Fight, flight, and freeze. That's the stress response. Yeah.
Right. And just thinking through it before getting thinking of it before you get to it That's why the knowing is really good. Knowing, okay, I get to choose a different reaction or different response before it comes up, before the crisis hits. What will be my response? If the boss says something to me I don't like today, like with your grandson, okay, you can say it, you can say what you mean without being mean. Oh, I love it. I think I'll tweet that today. Say what you mean without being mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to be angry. Go ahead.
Yeah. But going back to what was shared before with the Johar windows and the quadrants and the being blind, sometimes we don't even realize that we're saying it mean, But
Right.
Yes.
I think knowing yourself, and that's, I think, I love that question, who are you? Knowing yourself, I think, is a really important part of, it's a wasted life if you go through your whole life not knowing yourself. But that means taking time to know yourself. And I really do think, as in this fast-paced world that we live in, that making time, cultivating the habits to make time, like I meditate, I have morning prayer and meditation, and just knowing myself, spending time with myself in a way with curiosity, right? Not knowing myself and beating myself up or looking in the mirror and putting myself down, but just being really objective and knowing myself, knowing and sort of reflecting on my reactions, my behaviors, was I reactive? Was I defensive? Was I, or what am I struggling with? So it's
Okay.
cultivating habits that, and initially we have to be very intentional about that. Like even like in the car, switching off, like that's cultivating a new habit, because when we're in that reactive, we're not thinking. Like maybe putting a sticky note, like put some nice music on, like, so to switch the hat. Terry, you were going to say something.
Yes. I think a lot of this has to do with not just how we react, but how people react to our response. Like in the case of your grandson, where the individual felt it wasn't sincere, so now he's tripping because people have a way of putting labels on other person's responses if they don't like the way they're delivered. And sometimes it doesn't mean that that person responded mean. It just means that the receiver has an issue. They wanted the response they want.
Yeah.
So what do you do with that? How do you avoid the ice cream after that?
I'm going to go really deep now. So
The Facebook user says, "Yep."
That window where we don't know ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The
unknown.
Our world is a mirror, and people
Mhm.
reflect back to us what we're projecting. Psychological projection. We project onto others. So sometimes we see things in other people that we don't like, but a lot of times they're and we react to it. That means they're touching something within us. They're touching a wound within us. Okay.
Mhm.
So if we can look at the world being our mirror and what gets reflected back to us, not because we're bad or there's something wrong with us, but it's like those are the shadow parts of us that maybe we have difficulty seeing because we're blind to ourselves, right? As was shared before. So so somebody reacts to us in a way, and believe me, I'm a master in this because I was in a relationship for 8 years that he was showing me things about me that I didn't want to see because he was very judgmental of me and undermining of me and all of those things. But really deep down, I was doing the same thing to myself.
Yes, because that's what I'm saying. You don't want to morph into who you're not, trying to please people and avoid ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that'll drive you to the ice cream too. Because one day you'll look in the mirror and you'll say, "Who is this person?" That's why the subject today is what, Fran?
Who are you? And then how our thinking is impacting what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Karen says, "Hello,
Hi,
Maria."
Maria.
Hi, Karen.
So I it is so much going on that when you know yourself, it's going to make this a whole lot easier. And then when we know ourselves and we're still learning, like I like what Maria is saying here about, okay, you don't like that over on that other person, but then that could be you. That's the mirror. That's you. Like, oh, I need to work on that.
Yeah. And it comes down to being compassionate, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Compassionate with ourselves and compassionate with others, but really compassionate with ourselves. I think that we, in our Western culture, we're so big on beating ourselves up. And if something's not working, push harder. And if we're having trouble with the ice cream, we start, emotionally beating ourselves up, like, what's wrong with you? And, these beliefs that we hurt ourselves, right?
Right.
And then we don't give ourselves, Terry and the ice cream, I see. So the point is, I think we have to start from a place of compassion and even curiosity, that we can start to ask ourselves the questions. If somebody says something to us and we react to it, or we get defensive, or we feel hurt, rather than going to this default of, well, what's wrong with you, meaning yourself, it's like, oh, I'm curious about why I reacted that way, or I'm curious about why I have this pattern of eating the ice cream every day, or, whatever it is the behavior that's not serving you, that you'd like to change. I think rather than pushing through, or again, beating yourself up, or trying harder, or trying stronger, the approach has to be more of just an objective looking of, oh, this is interesting, that this is interesting. And then to start asking yourself the question, why? And sometimes we don't always know why, because in hindsight, and I think rather than being in our heads trying to figure out the why, oftentimes we need to make the changes, and then in hindsight we get a deeper understanding of what the why is. It's like putting in the form first,
Yeah.
in the posture. I'm a yoga teacher, so it's the idea of getting into the posture and then feeling what it feels like to be in the posture. So refraining from the behavior, like maybe you set yourself a goal that I'm going to come home, I'm going to put on some music in the car, and I'm going to walk into the house and maybe put my sneakers on and go for a walk around the block, rather than go to the refrigerator. But so that change in behavior is going to start to activate different feelings.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, I like that.
So you have to sort of be present to that. It's gonna bring up some feelings of maybe the feelings you've been suppressing with the ice cream. It might be bringing up feelings about what it, especially when we move our body, because that activates our emotions are in our body. And so movement and when we refrain from stuffing them down, they start to flow and come up. So putting in the form again, taking the actions, refraining from the ice cream or taking a walk around the block is going to bring up certain feelings, thoughts, and emotions that you want to create space for. And again, it comes back to being curious and objective and not judging yourself, but allowing yourself the space to feel,
Okay, so Carlos says this: I'm a firm believer that we never truly find out who we are. And we have a Facebook user who says,
Before you jump over there, okay, I'm not sure if Carlos was on one of his jokes with the
I don't
comment,
think so.
because Carlos is our resident comedian. So, and okay, I think we are in the process of finding out who we are.
Because hopefully we're always evolving.
and becoming better. Yes. And then the other comment, I am not sure who this is. I know
think
I
this
can
is
come.
Claudia, but
Okay, it might be Claudia. I know I can come across how I can come across sometimes, still working on it, but sometimes people don't want the message we are bringing, and then label us when it is not us. I get
this is very, very common. This is very, very common, especially in the workplace. Having worked for corporate America, having worked for the government, having worked fast food. I mean, I've done a lot of things. Retail. Um, the thing is, are you going to be that angry person? Are you now hysterical? Are you now mean? Are you now, not a team player? You get a lot of labels. And I don't care how low you speak or how kind you are, you're going to have, and I think this is what you're hearing in the background of these comments.
right, because now Terry, you were saying that they told you smile too much.
Yes, I have inappropriate smiling.
I was
Because
like, how do you get inappropriate
I
smiling?
can be
Okay.
telling you, I know you guys took the company credit card, went to a motel, spent time together. That is inappropriate use of funds, and you're suspended. Next thing I know, I'm in a meeting with union representatives, and they're telling me that I have harassed them. I mean, this is not necessarily true. I'm just saying these are the kinds of things that people are dealing with, even though they've attempted to be a better mailman.
So I think I like being happy with me, but still working on me and figuring out, not beating me up if I see something, or if somebody, I think there was a joke or they might have been serious. They said if one person comes to you and says, you're a donkey or a horse or something because of blah, 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 and then another person says it, if the third or the fourth person says it, then you might
want a question.
You might need to figure out, do you need to have a saddle or something? Because maybe there's something that is there. But you looking at it, I need to look at it myself. What am I? Okay. Am I really, did I come off that way? Now I know I can be very direct, and I have to pay attention to that, especially when I'm working on a project and I'm trying to go somewhere. I was like, oh, I need to pull back and relax, but I have to see that and recognize it. You understand what I mean? I have to hear somebody, I have to listen to what someone is telling me.
What's going on in the clubhouse?
Well, Dr. Tachi and I was over there. We're
Okay.
over there.
I'd like to share something about what Terry touched on.
Sure.
That sometimes we say things or we show up in a certain way and then people respond or react to us, right? They might accuse us or tell us something that we didn't intend. And I think there is that understanding, like you were saying, Francine, about sometimes we need to listen, because if we hear it a few times, it's a way of seeing ourselves. But sometimes, we're all looking at the world through our own glasses, right? Our own eyes. And people project onto each other. We project onto each other our own perception of others, right? And so I believe that we have to care about ourselves. And it's not a selfish thing. It's that we have to care about ourselves and our perspective more than we care about other people. I'm not saying in a selfish way. I'm saying that if you feel that that's your truth, then being yourself and sharing your truth is your responsibility.
Okay.
How other people react or respond to it is like we have to be detached from it because if your intention was not to, your intention was what that scenario that your intention was to create justice and equity and what was right, right? They're spinning it into something else, it sounds like. And then they're, creating a whole nother problem, like, so that we can maybe sometimes avoid the real issue. The real issue is that they did something inappropriate, right? And you're calling them on it. And then, so going back to that, you weren't doing it directly to hurt them. You were doing it because this was not the right thing. So standing in that truth, and sometimes, we are persecuted for our truth. People don't want to hear the truth, and sometimes we have whole systems based on keeping the things that are not in truth, not truthful, right, or just or right. That. I mean, racism is like we have systems that'll like back that up, So, I mean, I don't know it the way you know it, but from what I understand from my friends and what I've observed in my life, that that so there's a lot of injustice, and then
microaggression going on in the
exactly.
midst of all of this.
And the truth is, we try to address what's just and right, and then people psychologically will pick on her smile or her, and like to distract us from what's the real issue here, right?
Yes,
correct.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like the real issue is that you were inappropriate, and what you were, and you don't want anybody to call you on that, and so the cat is purple.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the thing is that being the courage to stand in our truth and who we stand for and what we believe is, I think that this life is a courageous path in standing in truth and in integrity. And I do think that, ultimately, as we evolve, that we will find other people that align with that and can support us. But there's always going to be those people that have a lot more invested in injustice or getting their way or manipulating. And so that's what I meant by, really caring about yourself, like supporting yourself and knowing your truth is important. And not only important, I think it's vital, so that we can show up and live our lives with integrity. And you can put in the effort. I mean, that's the thing. That's one thing I'm learning in Movement Makers, is that group that Francine talked about before, is from Evan Carmichael, who's the guy who created this whole process, this whole support group, Movement Makers, is celebrating our efforts, because we don't have control over the outcome, but celebrating our efforts. And of course, we set goals or we set intentions and we would like certain outcomes, but sometimes, just celebrating our efforts and supporting ourselves in that, the outcome, I believe sometimes we don't get the outcome we want because but this, it goes with my spiritual path, divinity has something greater for us, right? Something bigger. And so it's just a matter of faith and trust that, I'm going to live my life with integrity and what's right, and celebrating again my efforts, and that trusting that, it's going to come back in the right way.
Right. All things work together for my good. It is going to work together for my good. And even if the door is shut, because there's there's something on the other side that is not going to benefit you, that's why the door is shut. And I don't need to keep trying to bang the door down like I need to get in there. Maybe the door is shut for a reason.
Yeah.
Let me just let that alone. And okay, I'm going to, like Maria said, let's just celebrate our efforts. We are moving things forward, and we do what we can. My takeaway from this conversation is I must care for myself more than I care about other people.
Yeah.
Because go ahead. Go
But
ahead, Maria.
that doesn't mean that we don't care. I mean, like, I feel like, I started this conversation with saying I'm a servant. I want to serve people. I want to help people. But this idea that caring about being who you are fully and expressing your truth in the kindest way you can is serving others, really.
Right. There is in the Bible, it talks about love your neighbors as you love yourself. Well, if you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to love your neighbors.
Yeah.
If you don't take care of yourself, if you're like the analogy on the plane, they tell you to put your mask on first before you try and help everybody else on the plane, because we need you breathing first, right? So that you're fully equipped to help somebody else. But if I don't love myself, if I don't care for myself, I cannot properly care for you. I can't show you love because I don't love myself. I don't know what that looks like. So how am I going to do that for you?
Yeah. It's like filling yourself up, One thing that I heard Oprah Winfrey say, because she talked about how years ago people used to say to her, "You're just so full of yourself," and she used to take that as an insult. And she said, "And today in my life," she said, "it's important." Yeah, she said, "Yeah, I am full of myself. I'm so full of myself that my cup runneth over." And I love that analogy, because when we fill ourselves, the cup runs over and then we can give more. But if we're giving from an empty well, we're not really giving. Maybe we're giving because we want them to love us or to like us or to please us. It's not giving out of an overflowing cup. And so taking the time to know ourselves, taking the time to treat ourselves with respect, healing traumas, healing dysfunctional relationships we might have with substances or foods, or taking that time not only serves you, but I really do believe it serves others vibrationally, energetically. We serve other women when we treat ourselves with love, dignity, and respect. We you can't get sick enough to help another person. You can't get diminished enough to so it's this idea of cup runneth over. So the more you take time to be mindful, maybe put in some meditation practices, treat yourself, your precious body, with healthy foods, taking the time to, it's not really selfish in the way, it's because it's just taking care of these tools that we've been given to serve, right? I do believe we're spiritual beings in these bodies, these temples. And so taking care of the temple is what we need to do so that we can serve others,
Right. Thank you. And Coach Karen says, true, we drink water and mind our own business and allow what's coming to us to happen. Allow what's coming to us happens. And then she also says, I love my life for what it has brought me and continues to do. And then I believe this is Claudia. She says, value self-care as much as caring for others. This has been an outstanding conversation today. And then we have Alfredo in the house over here, just joined us. Hey, Alfredo.
Yeah.
And Dr. Tachi is still over in the clubhouse. This is good. We really need to just, take a look at who we are, thinking about how our thoughts and our decisions impact someone else, impact the people around you. Dr. Tachi says, drink water. Oh, go ahead, Terry. You're pushing buttons. I'll let you push. Drink water and mind my business.
This is an effort. And a lot of times we deny who we are when we just drink our water and mind our business. But it is a great mechanism for survival and peace of mind.
I'm liking the conversation. And if you want to learn more about Maria LiPuma, Maria, where can we find you?
So I have, I have a well, let me start with, I have a website,
Okay.
bodyconfidencesolutions.com.
Okay, we're gonna.
And I have actually a free ebook if you know anyone or yourself is struggling with emotional eating, 3 steps to stop emotional eating. And you can get that on my website. I'm also playing a lot on Instagram these days. I'm just learning it and doing some lives there. So you can
Mhm.
Body Confidence Solutions again. I have a YouTube channel also, Body Confidence Solutions with Maria LiPuma. And I even have a Facebook group. So if you type in Body Confidence Solutions, Maria LiPuma, you should be able to get me. I can also give an email address if you have any direct questions.
So why don't we do this? Type into, are you putting it in the chat? If you can put in the private chat, we'll copy and paste it and put it in the chat here and put it over on a Clubhouse so that we can go to your website. And you might want to get her, if you want it, get the free download that she has available.
Mhm.
Really good conversation today. Dr. Tachi said this is such a great conversation, and I'm pushing buttons. Thank you, Karen. Karen
Right, I'm getting.
also, and there is I'm going to put the little,
I'm
this was
making it
great.
better.
I'm going to just give you some more resources. I'm just looking for something here. Links to resources.
And, you know, I'm putting this in here. I am going to put this in the chat over
Okay.
on the side, and we'll put it also in the,
Coach Karen says, thank you, ladies.
thank you,
Hey,
Coach.
Al.
She's,
Yeah.
Al says he loves your smile. Al is our tech dude over there.
Such a great convo, says Coach Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pinning a link over here on the
Thank you.
Clubhouse.
And Francine, I put some more stuff in the chat. I don't know if you saw my
Okay.
ebook and
Oh, cool.
yeah, it was wonderful to meet you all and to thank you for the opportunity to chat with you. Great conversation.
This was really, really good. I really enjoyed the conversation. Looking forward to more interaction with you. I got to work on my lives on Instagram, so I'm going to be on one, hopefully with Maria, and we will be talking more about this. It was all about impact today, and she has impacted our program in such a positive way, in such a great where we can take something and go with it, changing our thoughts. That's the whole reason for Coffee, Tea, Thoughts, and Conversations on Monday, to get a different thought, get a different perspective on things, and to help keep us going. So with that, we want to say thank you so much
Thank you so
for
much, Maria.
joining us live on the replay. Maria in the house. We're going to be having more guests. Cecilia, thank you. Cecilia and Alfredo and Karen and Mark and
Carlos.
and
Claudia.
Yep.
How do I get you on Clubhouse? Biz Chicks?
Yeah,
Yes.
you can find me on BizChicks.
Okay, great.
I'm
Great.
on
Yeah.
Clubhouse.
That's
And
wonderful.
Dr. Tachi over there. Everybody, thank you so much. It's
Thank
awesome
you again.
Monday morning, and we're going to let you get back to what you're supposed to be doing. Today is a day off for many of you. I don't know if it'll be a day off for me, but it's going to be
In honor of Martin Luther King's birthday, we just want to acknowledge that
yes.
and all that he has done.
This has been a conversation that I think we need to do a replay on and make sure that you go back and get some good points. What stood out for you? Put that in the chat or send us a text. And if you'd like to get connected with Biz Chicks, you can text Biz to 33777. You can become a part of the Biz Chicks Community, text biz to 33777. It is no charge for you to join. Just come on in. We are here to help you build a profitable business that's fun to run, to take the hassle out of your hustle, and connect you with great people such as Maria LiPuma, and also to connect with one another. Remember, follow one another over on Clubhouse, follow one another on YouTube. What was I going to say? Subscribe to one another
on YouTube.
Yeah, follow one another. Help. Let's build a community together, and have a great rest of your week. And Terry, anything else you'd like to add?
I just want to remind everybody we'll be here Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And tomorrow we will be talking marketing with our marketing strategist, Miss Terry Johnson, online everywhere. I want to give a shout out to Mediascope. They're back this week, and we are excited to hear what Dr.
Oh,
Fauci.
no, she said no, not yet.
Not
She
yet.
no,
Oh no!
February.
Oh man! Congratulations on your hiatus. Okay.
We're not coming
We
back
won't
till
be back till the love month, folks. Hey, you're going to have to watch the replays. What can I tell you? So, with that, we want to remind you to go to the front of your own line. Have a great day. Thank you again, Maria. Thank you, Fran.
too.
And we'll see you on the
Lovely.
radio. Bye bye, everyone.